I'm Daisy.
And I'm Terry.
And this is the Monday Mindset Podcast,
where we share things of interest to us and hopefully to you.
So let's get started with, are you ready? This is where I insert, I'm going to go looking for multiple sound effects. Episode number 100.
Woohoo! I remember when we were at episode 3.
Specifically 3. Can you remember what we recorded? No. See? You were just throwing an arbitrary number out there.
That's right.
So, as we tend to do, I was waiting for episode 100 because it seemed like a good time to take a break and celebrate the 100th episode. Almost 2 years, but episode 104 doesn't have quite the same ring about it, does it? Mm-hmm. So it seemed like an opportune moment to take one of our pause and reflect moments for an episode. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And I thought I would share with you a few things, like, for example, you know me, how I used to be a little bit obsessed with stats. I have, thankfully.
Used to be?
No, I have. I've let that go now. I've completely let that go. But occasionally I'll go and have a little look-see and see what's going on. But I thought you might be interested in knowing how many people are listening out there. Would you like to take a guess at how many downloads we have per week on average now, these days?
Does it show downloads versus listen to?
No. I think there's something, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky because, one, every podcast host has a slightly different algorithm. 2, they have a tendency to change that algorithm, which my previous podcast host did to me right in the middle of accepting a podcast sponsor for Keto Woman. And they changed their algorithm and my download numbers halved overnight. So I had to adjust the sponsorship payment, which was very, very annoying. So they change their algorithms all the time, but they try and change it to make it more accurate, I guess, from an advertising point of view, but to be more accurate as in people listening. But basically it's downloads, but they try and weed out things like downloads from bots and stuff like that. So it's actual downloads. But, of course, it will include things like people who are subscribing. So, and that's where when you look at the graph of the downloads, there's a huge spike when it's first released because it will go out to all the podcatchers and everyone who's subscribed, it will automatically get downloaded. And of course, you know, how many things do you subscribe to that you don't actually listen to every week? But there are, I think, again, depending on the podcast host, but there are things you can delve into a little bit more. I didn't go into those details, but I think they're getting more and more advanced to give you more of an idea of how many people are listening to them. There must be a way of doing it because they do it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. You can dig in and see, you know, how many people have listened, but how much of it they've listened to, for example. Mm-hmm. There was something which I didn't have time to look into, but there's something about how many people you keep from one week to the next and things like that. So that was my very long way of saying, no, not really. But it basically tells you how many people have downloaded it. And I think there's something that weeds out downloading it to multiple devices in the same household, as it were. So you could have someone who downloaded it on their laptop and on their phone. And I think it still only is classified as one. Not entirely sure. Again, it will depend on the algorithm. So it's not precisely accurate, but it gives you an idea how many people are listening. So would you like to take a stab?
I'm going to guess 100.
Per
episode.
Per episode. Okay, so I worked it out because basically you get it. Well, you can narrow it down to per episode, actually, but we have per month around about, it's a bit more than this, but I've averaged it and rounded it down, about 5,000 downloads a month.
No
which
way.
which works out to 1,250 per week. So, which tells you, obviously, the per week tells you roughly how many people are listening to the podcast in general, because obviously to know how many people in a month is a bit meaningless in a way, because that's 4 episodes. But so anyway, I worked it out, averaged it out. That's about how many people are listening.
Fantastic.
Yes. That's amazing, isn't
I'm
it?
going to have to up my game a bit. I didn't know we had that many people listening.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I was thinking about it. And I was thinking, because obviously we know personally quite a few of the people who listen, and they taught us one of the things I like about it. You know, they'll make comments about the latest episode that they've enjoyed, and they're, you know, I did this because of what you said, and this was interesting, and that was interesting. And so I often kind of picture this, you know, sort of small group of people that I can think of, that I can actually picture out there listening to it. But yes, it's kind of a bit weird when you think, actually, no, it's over 1,000 people.
Yikes. That's good. That's good. But I feel a little more pressure now.
So there you go. Those are the stats. I thought you might also like to hear a few reviews. Would you like to hear some reviews?
That would be fun.
I only very recently discovered how I could... Got a French bulldog trying to get up on my lap. No, it's not an appropriate time, Bets. I do apologise. I've only recently discovered where I can find the reviews. I stumbled upon them by accident. Previously, you could change the country in iTunes and go and look at the reviews, and they've changed that. But I found out where you can find them. And so you can change the country and you can read the reviews. So its default position is America, and that's where we have most of our listeners. The top countries, I think, in order, actually, I'm not sure about the order, but United States, Canada, UK, and Australia are the main places that people listen to us. So these are from America. 5 stars. Most people who write reviews tend to leave 5 stars. I've found with Keto Women, they either leave 5 stars or they leave 1 star. Leave a horrible review. But anyway, you'll be pleased to know that all the people who leave reviews leave 5-star reviews. Just Right is from T_Ellis. This is the Goldilocks of podcasts for me. It's just the right length of time, just the right amount of information, delivered in a manner that is enjoyable. I look forward to each episode. That's nice, isn't it? Thank you very much, T. Ellis.
I feel like we need to know who these people are so we can send thank you notes or something. That is so awesome to hear.
This one is from, not sure how to pronounce this, Babcias Farm, Babcias Farm. Full Meal Mind Snacks is the heading. 5 stars. Daisy and Terry continue to deliver relevant, thought-provoking and inspiring content week after week. I have established new habits, explored new ideas, faced some fears, and shared with friends and family. They do all of the prep work of finding great information and making it digestible. I highly recommend making them a part of your weekly listening menu. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. I'm blushing here. They can't see that we can see each other on video, but dang, these are great to hear.
Now this one, I think we both know. 5 stars. Small, manageable chunks. This is from K.L. Diamond. I have a feeling we know exactly who that is.
I think we do.
I love the fact that Daisy and Terry give ideas/tasks that are helpful. Part of the reason they are for me is that the implementation of the suggestions are not overwhelming. I think this is really important for people who are struggling with depression/anxiety, etc. Great job. Looking forward to the next episode. And that was right back from the beginning. So let's go quickly to Canada is always reliable. Let's have a look. Yes, Canada. Here we go. Always have reliable love from Canada. We like Canada. Gentle Monday morning hug. 5 stars. This makes me laugh. I thought I knew who it was, but I asked her and it's not. This is from Whorehouse. That's Hoar. House. This is such a gentle, interesting, and gosh darn nice way to start the week. Hearing Daisy and Terry review and discuss a broad variety of interesting topics to focus your mindset for the upcoming week is the perfect way to start the week. Again, very lovely. Thank you very much, Whorehouse from Canada.
Thank you, Canada.
This is from Margie Parks. Monday mindset is fabulous in capital letters. I have gotten into the habit of looking forward to Mondays to listen to both Terry and Daisy and learn something every week. This is a delight. Highly recommend this podcast.
Thank you, Marg.
There are more from Canada. Let's go very quickly to the UK. We have to go to the UK, don't we? This is going to be embarrassing if there aren't any. Oh no, we do. We have a couple. Aha, I know who this one is from. Casa Canueto. This is from my good friend Kelly. Interesting nuggets of neuroscience. Great podcast with small, actionable tips to improve our happiness and well-being.
Thank you, Kelly.
So let's go very quickly. I did mention Australia. Oh, well, we have an average 5 out of 5, but no reviews from Australia. You have let the side down, Australia. I'm disappointed in you.
Australians of few words listen to us.
So there you go. There are a few reviews for you. I thought you might like to hear those.
Very nice to hear. And thank you for those reviews. And thank you anyone who's left a review that we didn't share here.
Absolutely.
It helps us to know if we're doing what people are interested in hearing. And, you know, gosh darn it, it just feels good to hear positive feedback. So thank you so much for those reviews.
Absolutely. So really, I guess my roundup and review and reflection, I guess a good brief topic for discussion would be what this podcast means to you, what this podcast means to me. Well, it means a great deal to me. I very much enjoy and have benefited greatly from it. I like finding out, it gives you the push sometimes you need to go out and listen to the things we listen to share with you. I've certainly found, and I think you shared this with me as well, we both suffer from the same kind of thing. When you're feeling good, you tend to do the things that carry on making you feel good. When you're not feeling so good, you're less motivated to do the things that you know will help, but you don't feel like doing them. So having to listen to something, to record, even if, you know, I'm not necessarily in the right frame of mind to be listening to those things, it does help my mood a bit to be listening to those things. And then, of course, to spend time with you and to share it with you, or to be listening what you've got to share with me. I think, I've said it before, I'll get boring about it, but probably the biggest thing for me is the time I get to spend with you, the connection I have with you, and this, shared interest that we've shared with each other. But then, of course, the other thing that it's gone on to become is this thing that we get to share with you listening at home and the interaction we have with you. So, yes, I guess that episode that I mentioned with, and I keep bringing up about Dr. Pippa Grange, this exchange between us and you at home, and the connection, the social connection. All things we've talked about and how important they are. And, there are different levels to connection, aren't there? There's face-to-face in real life, but I think these internet across the webwave connections have become so much more important over the last couple of years. But certainly for me, really, since especially When I was back in the middle of nowhere in France, it was an absolute lifeline for me, all the connections that I've made online. And of course, that's how Daisy was born and grew and developed. And it's ended up with all sorts of things for me, new friendships, new career path. So very, very valuable.
Thanks for letting me be a part of that, Daisy. So for me, I think definitely you hit the nail on the head. Needing to be prepared for the podcast helps me listen to more things. And I didn't even think that was possible because I've always listened to a lot of podcasts. But sometimes what I find is I will be looking for one to share and I'll listen to something and I'm like, wow, that is so good, but I don't know how I could share that. So then I go and find another one. So I'm listening to more to kind of narrow it down to one that I feel is kind of tangible to be shared. So I think it's making me listen a little differently as I'm, paying a little more attention while I'm listening to them. And then the ones that I choose, I listen to probably 2 or 3 times. Because I am one of those people, I used to kind of joke, like, I felt like I have sieve brain. Like things just kind of, I listen, I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. But I couldn't regurgitate it. I couldn't, share it. So I have to listen to them a number of times. I have to take notes. I have to go back and look at them again. So it's really helped me to dig into the ones that I do share, which I think has been great. And then, of course, the interaction with you, getting time every week to talk with you. And listeners don't always know this, but, Daisy and I talk 15, 20, hour and a half before we record. And that's been invaluable to me. And, just a little shout out to you. Daisy does such an amazing job with this. Daisy's, 95% of the work behind this. She is the one that organizes it. She tracks me down for things because, sieve brain. She edits. She makes anything that I say sound super flowing. I did not realize how many ums I use until Daisy had to edit me. So there I go.
I'm going to leave that one in.
There you go. But it's just it's so much that you do. And I was shocked. The first episode I listened to, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what that sounded like. So Daisy does an amazing job with putting all of this together, and just, I'm so grateful for that. And I think Daisy probably felt the pressure she had to, because 1, I would not carry that ball very far. And 2, she is the one who talked me into doing this. And I think she had to make it a pretty sweet deal. Like, Terry, I'm going to do all the work. You just need to show up. Okay. So I think she's done a nice job of carrying that all along.
Yes. Well, of course, you bring the expertise. So, the knowledge and the expertise.
Well, I feel like in some ways it's a nice balance because, yes, I have that background. So sometimes I forget that a concept or a way of looking at something might be new to people. And you bring this freshness, like, oh my gosh, listen to what I learned about this. And in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of like this theory and this theory and this theory. But I would never even think to bring those up until you highlight them. And I have to, again, this is kudos to you, but those of you who listen to Keto Woman podcast and this, that Daisy just knows how to ask the right questions, pick up the right piece to go with. And I hear that all the time in these episodes. I share something with you, Daisy, and I thought, okay, yeah, I'm just saying this. And then you come up with this, I don't even know how to describe it, just a spot on integration of that information, and you tie it back to other episodes and concepts. Or again, for me, sieve brain, those things have passed through. You hold on and you can integrate. So I think you bring such important pieces to this combo. Yeah, maybe I have this background, but you're the one who puts the background like into actionable steps for people.
Oh, you're making me blush now.
Okay, we're both blushing.
We're both blushing. Yeah, so slightly on that note, we are going to make a bit of a change in that we're going to drop down, shave some time off my workload just because I've taken on a lot more work, have a little bit less time. We're going to be doing less social media. So we had a bit of a discussion about this before we started. We are going to carry on doing basically a post a week, but when it's our turn to share, we'll come up with a quote. So there will be some presence on social media, but not quite as much as we've had before. But I know that not everybody who listens follows on social media. So for a lot of people, that will pass them by without incident.
And note to everyone, this will help ease up some of the 95% of the work that Daisy has to do, because part of her task every week is chasing me down for social media posts. So we're going to ease up on that a little bit, and hopefully that makes things a little easier for both of us.
So that's about it, really. That was just a rambly 100th episode roundup and chat and sharing a few things. You can still contact us, of course, on those social media channels. If you send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, we will get it. If you do want to get in touch with us, suggest an episode or give us some feedback, we'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you'd like to leave a review.
That's right.
You can do that too. And our next roundup episode, we'll read some more out. Come on, Australia.
Come on. Give us some words. Use your words. All right, Daisy, this has been fun. Thank you so much for bringing that information to give us all some updates on how we're doing. And as always, fun to get to chat with you. And I look forward to the next 100 episodes.
Oh, yes. And that's a quick little note for those of you who are at home who haven't listened to yet and fancy joining in with our discussion at home. We are going to be taking some bits out of Brené Brown's new book, Atlas of the Heart. We've both been listening to it, and as I was saying to Terry before we started, within the first half an hour, I'd already thought of a couple of episodes. This would make really good episodes. Let's do a run of Brené Brown episodes. So that's what we'll be kicking off with next week. So until then, have a very, very wonderful week.
Take good care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.